Hey everyone. Um, well, that was a pretty crazy week in the NFL season, was it not? I sure thought it was. So, what did we learn from this week? Well, after watching today's game, I can definitely tell you that the NFL clearly has an official problem, and whoever says otherwise, you're wrong. You are so wrong. The NFL has a clear officiating issue and it needs to be stopped and it needs a massive overhaul. But with that being said, let's just go let's go through the game, shall we? Starting on Thursday night, a rematch between those two iconic Super Bowls 42 and 46, except instead of Eli Manning as the Giants quarterback, it's Daniel Jones the Giants quarterback, and the Giants were competitive for the first half. I mean, it was 14-14 tied. I mean, they were down 14 nothing and they came back and they tied it. I mean, there was a fumble by Brady, but at the same time, Jones also had like three interceptions. He wasn't playing great. Brady may not have thrown a touchdown, but he ran for two of them. Yes, he ran. Come on, he's 42 years old and he ran for two touchdowns. Very impressive. Shows you that age, when you get older, it's just a number. For the most part, it's just a number. But anyway, it's it's uh it's important to understand that the Patriots may be 6-0, but other than the Bills, all the teams they face against all have losing records. So, and next week they're going to be against the Jets, another rather weak opponent. Yes, I know they won, but I'm just saying watch out. And for the Giants, remember you're going to have these learning curves with them. You're going to have these learning curves with Daniel Jones, but at least your defense played hard. They competed, and they were in it for the first half. Next game in London, the Buccaneers hosted the Panthers in the Panthers' first ever international series game. And yeah, this was truly just the Kyle Allen show. I mean, if I recall, Winston threw like 4 or 5 interceptions. He was awful. He was awful. The Panthers showed up. Christian McCaffrey running a couple touchdowns proved that he deserves to be an Offensive Player of the Year, if not an MVP candidate. He really does everything. Kyle Allen is now 5-0 all time as a starter, 4-0 this season. Cam Newton's going to come back after the bye week. Should they go with Cam? Or should they ride with the hot hand? I don't know. And as for the Buccaneers, Winston was good from week 2 to 5. Maybe this is a hiccup. Again, it's still rather early in the season. After the bye week, you can try to work some stuff out, and we'll see what he turns into. Going forward, Zach Brown said that Kirk Cousins was the weakest link on that Vikings offense. Well, to be fair, a lot of people would say the same thing, but I think Kirk Cousins might have heard that. I'm not sure if he did, but I'm pretty sure you might know at least a little bit. So, knowing the Eagles, he destroyed the Eagles very early on when he was with the Redskins, and he continued that tradition as he threw for 4 touchdowns, 3 of them to Stephon Diggs. He had a monster game, and they won like 34-20 or 38-20. They just demolished them. It's a lot closer than that score really shows. I mean, the Wentz was beat down a lot. The secondary was atrocious. And as for Zach Brown, he gone. He was cut. He was cut. Wow. He was cut. Oh, man. And Zach Brown's a good tackler. He's a really good tackling player. So, yeah. But I guarantee he's going to be somewhere else soon. Very, very soon. Going forward, You have the Seattle Seahawks who traveled to the Eastern Time Zone to play against the somewhat underwhelming Cleveland Browns. Nick Chubb had a good day. He had a couple touchdowns if I recall. But Mayfield, he has not been good this season. In fact, he's actually been leading since 2018. He has been leading the NFL in interceptions. And I understand that Denzel Ward is also hurt, but they were also up 20-6, and Russell Wilson had another MVP type performance for the day. I don't have the stat sheet in front of me, but it was for a few touchdowns. It was for several hundred yards. He really is great. He does not have an interception. He is currently my MVP. Him or McCaffrey so far this season. I think many people would agree with that statement. Going on with MVP candidates, want to talk about a battle of potential MVP candidates. The Houston Texans travel to Kansas City to face the Chiefs, who were trying to avoid back-to-back losses, but that's exactly what happened. The defense for the Chiefs gave it up after being up 16-3. The Texans won out the 31-24. Carlos Hyde's revenge game. Now, this is a very important game because now the Texans have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs, and that means they would enter the day. They would be the 2 seed. Texans are a force in that division. They're a force in the AFC. And as for the Chiefs, it's your second loss in a row. You're going to be playing on a short week to go to Denver to face the Broncos, which I will talk about shortly. But yeah, they need to get the 200th win because you don't want this to spiral out of control. You don't. It could get very, very ugly if things do not work well. But granted, these have been close losses, so it shouldn't be that bad. But still, you have to keep in mind and make sure this isn't hope this is anything bad for the future. Going on to northern Florida where the Saints wearing white on white. I haven't seen them wear white pants. That's not color rush for ever. Against the Jaguars, Minshew. He threw his first interception of his career. Okay, him down to happen eventually. For the first half, it was all just field goals and punts. And then the very end, they got a touchdown. The Camara. Bridgewater's 4-0 as a starter. Again, the Saints are 5-1. They look like one of the elite teams in that conference still, even without their future first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. Defense was still dominant, only allowed 6 points from the Jaguars. And the Jaguars are 2-4, so Minshew's been fine, but when Foles comes back, would you go with Minshew or would you go with Foles? I mean, the Colts and the Texans are further and further away from them. I don't know. It could be tough. It could be tough for them. Now, some people like that game, but for some sadistic people out there, they're into this game. The Washington Redskins and the Miami Dolphins, two teams that combined 0-9. Yeah, this game was Terry McLaurin, potential offensive rookie of the year candidate, had 100 yards and a touchdown. 2 touchdowns. He was great. I don't understand. I have no idea why. Bill Callahan's first time as a head coach, and when he was with the Raiders, and instead of going with Dwayne Haskins, you go back to Case Keenum, which brings the question: why did you even have Dwayne Haskins even in pads in the first place? Why? Hey, Noah Cahill, what's going on? It just doesn't make any sense. It's just he's your future, but don't you want to see what he has right now? Why wait longer? You fired Jay Gruden assuming that Bill Callahan would listen to the owner more, and he's just doing the same stuff that Jay Gruden's doing. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. Now, granted, it's Case Keenum, not Colt McCoy, so yeah. Dwayne Haskins, he'll get it soon. He'll get his first start this season. I promise. I hope so. Yeah, but then again, Josh Rosen only completed 1 pass. He had several interceptions. He was horrible. He was benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick. So this is really interesting. Dwayne Haskins will be a bust because the Redskins won't put the right parts around him. An organization is a dumpster fire and needs to thrive with a team in Ohio. I agree. I agree. I agree that because the Redskins are a mess, it could realistically turn Dwayne Haskins into a pumpkin. He can turn him into the next RG3, not in terms of another quarterback bust from them that just you wish would be forgotten. Like I really, and as going for talking about quarterback bust, Josh Rosen might be a bust as well because for the Dolphins they were committed to make him their starter for the rest of the season, and you go with Ryan Fitzpatrick later in the game. Yeah, me too. You go with Ryan Fitzpatrick for the rest of the game, and he goes for it, and the team scored a touchdown, and they go for the win. Giants. I grew up with the Giants. Noah Cahill was asking. I grew up as a Giants fan, but I love all the teams. And just as you think, you're going for the win. Ryan Fitzpatrick throws it to Kalen Ballage, open lane, hands, can't even catch the ball. Can't even catch the ball. Just absolutely awful. And the Redskins would win the Tank Bowl, but then would that mean the Dolphins win the Tank Bowl? I mean, could the Dolphins be winners if they continue to try to go their path of 0-16? Or are the Redskins winners because they get the W in the win column? It's a really big, interesting question that we should really. Yeah, you can maybe say that maybe Kenyon Drake or Kalen Ball, whoever the hell it was, maybe they lost it on purpose. I don't know what's going through that guy's head. The only person that knows is the people that play for the Dolphins. Maybe that was intentional. But either way, they're trying to tank Noah Cahill, sports talk. I spoke a little bit earlier about him. I think so far the three rookies, I think that he has shown the most about development. However, I feel like one other guy might be challenging that. I'll talk about Murray in a second. Yeah, I kind of gave it away, but I think that he's a lot better than people want to give credit for. I can give you that. Those same people that are ripping on him now are kissing his chops. They all love him. What a revelation. Am I shocked about that? No, because it happens. A lot of people like to pretend that they're all against it, and then at the very end they just turn their heads, and then they say they're against it, and they go two-face afterwards. They do. That's how it happens, and I'm not shocked. It's just the case. What other games appeared at like 1 o'clock? Trying to really think for a second. No, just trying to think for it. What else? Jeez, no, we already did. Yeah, I think I already mentioned all the games for like the 1 o'clock games. Now let's talk about the 4 o'clock games. We had the NFC West showdown between the undefeated 49ers and the 3-2 Rams, Los Angeles Rams. And yeah, Goff did not look the best in that game. The defense dominated. It was a whole team effort by the 49ers, and they're now 5-0. They're now 5-0. This is why they were a pick very early in the season. They are a complete team. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo's okay, but imagine they had an even better quarterback. Imagine if Aaron Rodgers was back there. Imagine if Andrew Luck came out of retirement and played for them. Imagine if that happened. Just imagine. That would just be insane. But yeah, I'd say that, the Rams started off 3-2. No, they started off 3-0. Now they're 3-3. In a division where you have the 49ers who are undefeated and the Seahawks who only have one loss so far this season, that chance of a third straight division title is slipping away a little more and more by the day. You got to win a few. I mean, next week you're against the Falcons, so that might be a little bit easier. So let's talk about those Falcons. Oh boy. Matt Ryan had an amazing game. He did like 4 touchdowns. 30 for 36, over 140 plus completion percentage, passer rating, and it didn't matter because the defense still gave up a bunch of yards to. Yeah, it's amazing. They still gave up a bunch of yards to to Kyler Murray, who had a magnificent day. But granted, anyone looks great behind when facing that Falcons defense, and they could tie it, but then Matt Bryant kicks the extra point, and it's no good. Yeah, they should fire Dan Quinn. Listen, he's calling that defense. It's time to go. If your defense, you call the plays, and this happens, no, your time's coming to an end soon, Dan. It is. It's gonna come soon. It is. Trust me. One other game. The Bengals and the Ravens. Bengals got off to an early lead. Um, rushing. No, kickoff return touchdown. And didn't matter because Lamar Jackson had a great day in the air and on the ground. I think he had like 300 or 400 total yards. Dude's a stud, but granted, he has to be consistent from across different. Has to be consistent week by week. Justin Tucker is still, in my mind, a future Hall of Fame kicker. He was perfect on all of his kicks. He had like 4 kicks, something like that. Very, very dominant. And now the Ravens are on top of that division with the Browns lost. They're squarely on top. There's no one really facing against them. It seems to be theirs to the taking. Yeah, it seems that's the case. Now, granted, the AFC North's not that good this year. The Ravens can easily be the 4 seed, and we'll be fine about it. What else? Oh, yeah, the Cowboys and the Jets. Yeah. Sam Darnold's back from mono, guys. So, Sam, for an extended period of time, just don't kiss anyone, please. Your health is more important than that. So anyway, other than joking, had a good game. He had a couple touchdowns, and who would pick? But at the same time, he's back. Jets were up 24-9 against the Cowboys. Yeah, the Cowboys, the formerly 3-0 Cowboys. And they did almost win. They almost tie this game, whereas Dak, with the help of some refs, got into the end zone and he tried to go for the 2, and it did not happen. The Jets were in victory formation. So yeah, just like the Rams, the Cowboys were 3-0, faced some good teams, and now they're 3-3. Yikes. Not good. I'll talk about the refs in a second. Yeah, I'm gonna be right. The refs have been missing calls regardless of team. Like, honestly, they should just induct Art McNally this year. Back when people respected refs a bit more. Back when the players respected refs, because the refs have no one to blame but themselves for all these missed calls and whatnot. They do, seriously. It's a joke. It really is. People are tuning out and they're calling out because of it. They need to do something about it very, very soon, or else more and more people are going to get more and more hostile, and they're just going to turn the TVs off. I'm not, but I know that others would. I know others would. Finally, the final game for the 4 o'clock time, it was the Denver Broncos against the Tennessee Titans. Mariota is... Who's the bigger bust, Mariota or Winston? That's a good question I have, because they've both been busts. In fact, Mariota has been benched for Ryan Tannehill because he couldn't get any points on the board, and Broncos, who now 2-4 after their shutout victory over the Tennessee Titans, 16-0, couldn't even get a point on the board, not even on special teams. Offense was clicking, solid, but the defense was getting better. This is a team that should be like 4-2, but instead they're 2-4. They're just as competitive as some of these other teams, and now the Titans, now they're 2-4. They're 4th in that division. They're last place in that division. And you benched Mariota for Ryan Tannehill. I mean, is he better than Mariota? Is he worse? I have no idea. I figured that he would eventually take it over sometime this season. So yeah. Yeah, so not only that, he has never started 16 straight games for his entire career. In 2015, Zach Mettenberger started a few games. 2016 and 17, he got hurt, and then Castle started a game or two. And then 2018, last year, Blaine Gabbert started a few games, including the final game of the season, where if they win against the Colts, they're in. They're the 6th seed, and they lose soundly to the Colts. And yeah, that's how their season ended. 3 straight 9-7 seasons. But the way that the season's going so far, I don't think it's gonna be 9-7 again. Sunday Night Football. This everyone saw the same thing. Me too. Who the hell would not pick the Chargers to win this game? Yes, it's in Dignity Sports Field, and yes, that's basically a glorified away game for the Chargers, considering it's filled with Steelers fans. But 80%, 90%, who knows? But how wrong we were. Devlin Hodges in his first career NFL start would get the win against a heavily favored Chargers team. Now the Steelers are 2-4. The Dolphins had to be a little worried a little bit because they would notice how the Steelers looked like they were pining for a top 5 pick. Now they've been winning a couple games. Could that potentially still be a top 5 pick, or Daniel Jones, Flores, Alex Smith, and Zealy, and Matt Ryan? I don't know. It's too early to tell. I would say that going back when I was saying, Devin Hodges was the practice squad quarterback. Chargers are in trouble. They're 2-4. They're last in their division. There's a team that had playoff hopes this year. This team was 12-4 the previous year. They beat the Ravens. They got smacked by the Patriots. Not a good way to. They're not. They're not making the playoffs again this year. I'm saying I do not see them making the playoffs this year. I know that's not really much of a shock for a team that's 2-4, but I just don't see it. Take a fork in them. They're done. Rivers did not play well. I love Rivers, but he did not play well against the Steelers, who really just showed. They were up 21-0, like 24-0 at one point in this game. The reason why he was even close because the Chargers got some garbage time points and they got a chance to give back and like do an onside kick, and that didn't really go anywhere because onside kicks are near impossible today. But then it finally went off to today's game. Lions and the Packers. Lions were up 13-0. Packers came back and tied it. Okay. Then a several field goals later, Lions take the lead. And then what happens? Packers storm back with the help of a lot of officials with defense, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and the proud work of the Zebras. They get the win. Yeah, this was another. Again, this is not going to stop the narrative that the referees always screw over the Lions, because this was another massive, like Trey Flowers got a very, like, holding face. No, it's the shoulder, you dolt. It's the shoulder, not the face. This is your shoulder, okay? This is your shoulder, and this is your face. Shoulder, face. Shoulder, face. Please, officials, get it right, because more and more people are going to see you as less and less legitimate by the day. Hell, Cameron Jordan of the Saints call you guys Foot Locker because they don't respect you guys. Many players don't respect the referees. I mean, this is not going to stop. Lions fans are going to. Now, granted, to be fair, it's not always against the Lions. Like in 1998, the Thanksgiving Day game, that went for the Lions. That went against the Steelers. Remember the coin toss on Thanksgiving? Where Jerome Bettis called tails, and it went head. It went heads. And then the Lions went in and kicked the field goal and won. It's like one of the few exceptions. But most of the times, the refs tend to unintentionally, I probably assume, screw over the line, because there's some times, like last week, not last, a few weeks ago when they were against the Eagles, like it was like Miles Sanders, they pulled the head, the face mask, all the way to the other side, and that didn't get flagged for some reason. So it's not just a Lions thing, it's an NFL problem. It should have, it didn't, but again, I personally believe after tonight's game that the officiating needs an absolute overhaul. They did screw up. And they're not taking any accountability of what I think is disgusting. Everyone knows they did a fault. I'm pretty sure the NFL also knows it as well. And with more and more people noticing that the refs are making more and more mistakes, they're only going to get called out more and more and more. how much longer does it have to take before the NFL finally puts its foot down and decides to go for the change? Because after the Saints Rams NFC Championship game, they said, okay, all pass interference, it's gonna be reviewable. But they tried it, but the only time that's ever got called back was only one time out of like 20 something. So yeah, it was a knee-jerk reaction by the Saints, whose fans and also players and ownership and coaches were riled up and making a big temper tantrum, and it happened. But you're still seeing even more issues with the referees. Maybe it could be recency bias, but it just seems like every year the referees, and this year especially, it's not like the lockout like that bad, but it's very, very bad. And it doesn't help that a few of the referees retired, officials retired a few years ago, including one this year. I mean, this is a Monday Night Football game with the world watching, and this screwed up the Lions' chances, because now the Lions find themselves last in that division. You know, all these other teams with winning records, and they only have 500, and that would have been avoided if the refs did not screw up or did not have a secret cheesehead, for all we know. I'm not against. I feel for the Lions fans. I'm very big with Harris and Emerson and a few other guys for the guys in the Hall of Fame, because, yeah, you guys deserve it. But now, Week 7 coming up. On the docket, Chiefs Broncos. Gonna be an interesting matchup between, one team won their last 2 games. Another team lost their last 2 games. Chiefs are going to be desperate for a win. Andy Reid needs his, you know what you did. Andy Reid needs his 200th regular season coaching victory. Listen, he's a future Hall of Fame head coach, and whoever argues with me, this guy's a bean. What's a bean? Me? I'm a bean? What kind of bean? Like a garbanzo bean? Kidney bean? Doesn't matter. Anyway, who's going to do it? Who's going to get the W? I don't know. That's going to happen in the future. But your DOS, or listen, it's a long week. The team that I think is on the rise is the Vikings. They won their last 2 games. Kirk Cousins been playing some really nice football. Team on the downside, I can really see the Chiefs. Lost their last 2. They really need help on defense. Eagles too, and the Cowboys, and the Rams, 3-3 after starting 3-0. That's uncalled for. And as for the Cowboys, who wants to win that division? Is it the Eagles? Or is it the Cowboys? Is it going to be one of those two? And no, the Redskins do not count. I'm Italian, so yeah, I guess you can call me Vinny Spaghetti. Thanks, Ray. Dak needs to play for free. I think, if the Cowboys make the playoffs, I think they should have given an extension a little bit earlier this season. But now, how much of a contract extension would they give Dak Prescott? Like 2 more years? For all we know, they could just give him so much money. But how much money would you want to give Dak Prescott? Would they... I don't know. Very interesting the way they're going to be doing. I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do. I can tell you that probably some Father Greg is saying some stuff. Just ignore him. But anyway, I do hope that... What the hell's going on, guys? Anyway, I do hope that things help out for the future. I'm going to be here a little bit more often. Schoolwork is going to be a bit busy, but anyway, that's all I have to say tonight. in case you're curious, Patriots still the top dog in the NFL. Dolphins, the quest for 0-16. All you have left to worry about is the Bengals. 0-6. They meet each other week 16. That's going to be a matchup for the ages. Just you wait. I will be there. And I hope everyone else is there with me. Peace out, guys.